right at 5:30, so I'll call tonight's EDA meeting to order. And Jolene, can you note roll for the record, please?
I will, thank you.
Perfect. And I would invite everyone to rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, members of the EDA, you have an agenda before you. I will entertain a motion to approve or any changes.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. Our next item is open forum. Open forum is any interested party's opportunity to address the EDA on any topic of your choosing. Is there anybody that would like to speak in open forum this evening? Let the record note she has declined. Is there anybody online?
No, Mayor.
Okay. We will move on to our consent agenda. Members of the EDA, we do have a change to make to the minutes of the regular meeting November 18th, 2024. So I would move that we approve consent agenda items 6B and 6C, moving 6A to the regular agenda. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All of those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And our consent agenda is approved. Our next item is item 6A. Kudos to Member Lorge for recognizing the needed change in the minutes that are in our packet. It is noted that Member Grindal was absent. However, later in the discussion within the agenda, comments that were made by Member Lorge were attributed to Member Grindal, and so that needs to be updated. I would move that we approve those amended minutes. It is an option. We could table this item if the EDA wished us to bring back those official items at a future meeting. If you're comfortable with making the change here on the fly, we can also do that as well. So I would move unless there is some objection. Move to
second.
approve, to be clear. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? And motion carries. All right, that brings us to our next agenda item, which is regular agenda item 7A. And one of the primary reasons that we're here tonight, you will note Abby was not able to be here this evening. She woke up sick this morning, and so was not able to be here. We considered canceling this meeting. However, this next item is quite important because of the timing of my position and Councilmember Husnick's position is tied to our city council seats, which expire here in just about an hour and a half. Not that anyone's counting. And so we need to appoint an interim president and a vice president for a couple of things. Primary purpose is really just to open this next meeting next time the body meets. I have had a couple of conversations with Mayor-elect Roberts, and he is working on who the next EDA members will be, and so that he has assured me that this will indeed just be a very interim time. But we do need somebody who can open that meeting. The next agenda item on that future meeting is to elect a full slate of officers with the newly appointed EDA members. But we need somebody to serve in that meantime. Should anything critical happen during that middle time, the interim would also take care of that. But again, it is expected the only official action that will be needed will be to just gavel us into our next meeting so that an election can take place. Any questions on that? I am open to nominations. Should we start with the interim president role?
I nominate Eric Langness.
There's a motion.
I would second that.
Motion and a second. Member Langness, do you accept?
As long as there's no one else that wants it, I'm happy to serve.
Not seeing anybody come forward. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Oppose? Congratulations, Interim President Langness. And vice president is the next position we need. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for Jenny Lorge.
Motion for Jenny Lorge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Member Lorge, do you accept?
Yes.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. All right, that ends our official actions this evening. However, we do have a discussion topic that I had a somewhat lengthy conversation with Abby this morning, this afternoon on this topic, and got some clarity around kind of the timing and the need to have some conversation this evening for the EDA. Are we able to pull up the packet in the meeting? And if we can't, that's okay.
Yes.
We also have, of course, I don't have my bookmarks set. For everyone on your computer in front, we might be done with this by the time we get it up on screen.
You want the map up?
Well,
Or-
more of the staff, the map would be
Staff
helpful for the
report?
discussion, but then also the staff memo, just in case anyone had any questions.
You know, I'm just gonna go to the podium and
Okay,
catch up there.
okay, thank you.
These cords aren't quite long enough.
While Jalene's getting set, so in our packet, and it's on page, starts on page 38 of our packet, the discussion portion on the airport business park parcels. So Abby and her staff update kind of provides some background on recent EDA activity and recent EDA discussions related to these parcels. And there are two parcels that are still open and kind of in active conversation. But she wanted the EDA to be aware of kind of a sizable update in that the ownership of the adjacent properties of the southern portion of that parcel has changed. And through donation, the school district has acquired that parcel. To be clear, we've had some communications with the property owner that was part of that donation. We have not had extensive or hardly any conversations to date yet with the school district on their plans for that parcel. But it's a potential change in planned long-term use. The previous owner of that parcel was industrial and kind of fit that very industrial vision for that industrial park. Conceivably, if the school district, and I don't want to speculate too much on future use, but you could imagine the school district is not likely to use that parcel for industrial purposes. And so for that reason, Abby just wanted to get some feedback from the EDA on our, and kind of looking for consensus and guidance of her recommendation, which is that we would pause conversation on that southern parcel, just only until we can have some additional conversation with the school district on what their plans are, and just make sure that we are being planful in that southern parcel. She was very open to us continuing conversations on the northern parcel, but just wanted to break that into two separate approaches, given the change in ownership structure on the southern parcel. I don't have a lot of detail beyond that. Recognizing we don't need to take any action tonight, but wanted to provide an opportunity for some feedback, comments, questions. Abby can certainly respond to questions at a future time, but also she just didn't want to delay us having that information, and again, giving us opportunity to give her feedback. As you think about that, anything come to mind? Any concerns on putting a pause on any?
Can I just clarify
yeah.
real quick? So on the map, it's the aqua outlined one is the one that now has been gifted to the school district?
So
Is that correct?
My understanding is, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, both of these these are the two parcels that are still city-owned, and it would be the southern parcel that we would pause development conversations on, just until we can again get
Find out what the
clarification.
school
Yeah.
district is doing, okay.
Do we have active conversation going on with a potential developer
Yes, there has.
beyond the
Well,
Who-
there has been an ongoing conversation with a potential buyer that was previous to the most recent one, if you're remembering, yes. And that, so there was some potential conversation, we hadn't entered into anything official, there was some interest. We had another owner, or another interested party come forward that was further along in their plans, and so, we had that conversation. I think there was a potentially, a closed session with this body and the city council to talk about that. That owner has more recently had to withdraw their plans, which kind of has reopened up the market, or reopened up the opportunities, I guess. And so that's where Abby had, wanted to kind of take this kind of blue space or empty space and make sure that we were, before having further conversations on future projects, just knowing what the adjacent property owners were interested in. This body had some conversations around maybe some potential rezoning of those parcels we had conversations about restaurants and all sorts of other kind of related uses that were more recreation-based than industrial. And certainly if that footprint out there is changing to be more recreational, that might be another reason for us to do that. She wasn't expecting a long time difference, but she just hadn't had those conversations yet and just wanted us to be aware that that had occurred, and provide some opportunity for feedback if we had any.
Do we have any indication as to why the donation was made, if there was like an intended purpose or?
I don't know that. I'm not sure if Abby knows that either. But she had a conversation with the donor, just to indicate that that was what they were doing with the parcel. They had, previously had intended to do a project of their own.
Yeah, I guess I would vote to pause a little bit until we have a little bit more information gathered on what the school district is intending now to do with the gifted, if it's indeed been gifted to them. And even on this northern, if we're talking the yellow, then the northern parcel, I mean, it makes sense to have one cohesive strategic plan, in my opinion.
It is a close area, correct. I think those conversations will kind of provide more detail of what that looks like. And I know Abby will come back with some recommendations. So she wasn't expecting a long pause, but also didn't want us to not have this information, so.
And I don't recall what Gon's intended purpose was for, if he was interested in the yellow parcel, what it was going to be utilized for? I don't remember.
It was a service center site for their own purpose, so it was,
Okay.
it was
Not
their
consumer
own
related.
business purpose,
Yeah,
I believe.
because it's going to be more of a
I should pause,
recreational
there
consumer.
have been a number of conversations with them of what they might do, actually. So, there has been other conversations with them on potentially develop for future use, kind of more of a speculative plan, and so that's also part of why we just need to reengage, because I don't know if there's been a number of different business plans that have been talked about.
Both of those parcels have been donated?
No, the parcel that was owned by Team Vantage is what's been donated. So Team Vantage, I don't know if anybody has this date, the last 5 years had purchased some additional parcels for some expected expansion, and it is that newly purchased parcel that they have donated.
And where is that in relation to?
I believe it's this, are you able to see my mouse?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I believe it's
Thank
this
you.
parcel right here, adjacent to the ice arena.
Yes.
May I come up and mention something?
Yeah, do you mind coming to the podium?
So,
Just so we can hear you.
I had a conversation with Abby about this as well, and I think the idea would be a potential of doing a land swap with the school district, so that on this this greenish or bluish area. The school district would take that, we would take one of the sites that are, you know, closer to the, what would that be, the northeast, and do some industrial, and then allow for parking on this, because we do have a parking issue out there. So those were the thoughts that Abby had around that, and I think that is a good idea to at least pause to have those conversations, see if the school district would be interested. I think this also points out a reason why when we sell land like this, maybe some kind of a clawback where first right to have it, you know, to refusal to buy it back, because now these two sites, although a very generous donation by Team Vantage, are be off the tax rolls. So, any questions at all? So that just a little bit more insight there, because I was a little bit, well, I don't know if we need to do that, but when you talk about the parking, if you've been out there, it is a challenge when there's a lot of events going on. So.
Any other points of feedback for Abby? Otherwise, I would expect this to be on another agenda. Again, no action expected this evening. It was just an update.
The only other point I would have, I don't think it's a bad idea to do a swap or anything that's been suggested, but if there's potential to change land uses here and that's going to conflict with the existing zoning, I would urge that staff involve the planning commission early on in that process so that this doesn't come as a surprise to them. Because I think the land use piece is really their decision. And while I think we can have some influence, I'd rather they be on board.
Absolutely. Good point.
I think Commissioner Langness, Abby did discuss that, so I'm glad that you brought that up as a really important point. That was something that was on her mind as well.
All right, let's move into updates. Jolene, anything else to add from a city perspective, or Ryan, any other city updates to add?
Just a quick update for the commission, just so you know, we are officially bringing Mark Stotts on board on February 18th. That's a Tuesday. That'll be his first day with us. So we're excited for him to come on board here and kind of get into all the things that have been waiting while we've been in this transition period. So February 18th, just a little over a month from now.
Chris, any updates from Washington County?
Thank you and good evening, President Bain and members. Just a couple of quick updates for you. Just want to let you know that the CDA board in December did meet and renew the contract with the Open to Business program, and that's the program for small businesses throughout the county that provides free technical assistance and gap financing. So they have a subordinated loan program. And so if you remember Tyler Hilsebeck, and I think Tyler's going to come in and give a presentation at some point in time in 2025 to the EDA, so it'll be more detailed. But just wanted to make you aware that that program is it's a really good resource that businesses don't have to go it alone. There's help available and there's no additional cost. So we'll come in and give an update on that sometime in 2025. And then the CDA board also did renew a contract with the What's Next CEO program, and that's one that we've worked with the chambers on before, that helps existing businesses that are growing that might need some assistance in helping them get to that next level. And so growth is a good thing, but sometimes it causes a whole new set of challenges, and the intent of this program is to get through, to navigate, and figure out how you buy more inventory and add more people and to get to that next level. So that's called the What's Next CEO program, and we're excited about renewing that one as well. And then one minor thing that I just want to remind you, we do have an EPA grant. The CDA has a $600,000 EPA grant that can pay for phase 1, phase 2 environmental reviews, site investigations, soil testing. If it's a building that's coming down, we can do lead and asbestos testing in that building, and that's a grant, 100% federally covered, no match required. So there's a good resource available for you as well. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to stand for any questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
I was just wondering, what kind of participation do you have in the What's Next program?
In the Open to Business program?
No, the What's Next.
What's next? So we took a little pause. Last year we didn't, they funded, I think, about 29 businesses throughout the county and provided assistance as well. The year before that, we actually had a CEO roundtable group. It was a peer-to-peer networking group, and I think there were 12 people in that networking group that met every month and just shared ideas on how how to navigate that growth and the challenges that they experienced. That was across the whole county. There were, I think, 4 businesses from Forest Lake in that. And then they hope to redo that same peer-to-peer networking again, the roundtable discussions again this year. So hopefully another 12 this year and maybe another, I'm going to guess 30 businesses that could be assisted in that program as well.
Great, it's an amazing program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nanette?
Thank you. As far as what's going on at the chamber, we have been digging deep into our 2025 planning and doing our finalization. One of the pieces that the EDA probably is aware of is the community guide, and that is something that we utilize tremendously during Arts in the Park and our involvement in Arts in the Park. And so that's just really a huge piece that the Forest Lake Times provides for us, and then we're able to promote in the Forest Lake area all throughout the year with that. So just getting in all those final submissions, and that goes to print here later in the month. We've also been working with, I've been working with Chris here. We're working on our first Career Connections, which will be the opportunity really for the Forest Lake area schools career launch program to shine. And we're bringing folks from schools throughout the county together when utilizing Forest Lake as an example as far as the career program that they have. And so that will be on January 30th, where we'll be meeting for the first time and gathering chamber executives and school leaders across the county. So we're pretty excited about that. And then just some of the, we did our debrief on Hometown Holiday. We felt that between city staff and myself, we were very pleased. And so I know many of you were there. And so it was a great evening. And so looked at what worked well and what maybe where we would step it up a notch next year. And then we're right into things like the Lakes Area Expo, which is our large showcase. It is located at Maranatha Church, so just outside of the confines of Forest Lake, but it does involve about 70 or more businesses, local businesses and organizations. And so one of the larger exhibitor shows in the area. And so that will be on March 29th. So that's what we've been doing. And if you have any questions, I'll gladly answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Nanette? All
Just a
right.
comment, sorry. I'm just so excited every time the chamber gives a report, and looking back at what you've done the past year and working with Chris on countywide stuff and working with the other chambers. Thank you.
Well done.
You're doing a really great job for our city.
Thank you, Jerry.
Very good. Any other updates to come before us this evening? Ryan?
President Bain, members, just since it's been a while since we met, I'll give you a couple development updates that are related to our housing in town. So a couple projects we're able to finish and then start pulling building permits. So just down Goodview Avenue before you get to County Road 50, where we have that Shadow Creek Estates project. So right now there's 46 townhomes that will be permitted between now and probably through the summer there. They've pulled permits for one of the large buildings already, and it'll be already building through that stuff, so that'll be some different type of home availability here in the next year. And then Hidden Creek finished street and utility work in their phase 2, so that's 37 more single-family homes. And then phase 3 has actually been submitted and is going through the review right now, so that'll be coming forward to Planning Commission and City Council here. Maybe it already went to Planning Commission. Maybe I'm off date there, but that's 45 more potential homes. So good inventory that's just around the corner, and with a lot of more conversations going on that side. So I think it'll be busy.
Are the townhomes rentals or homeowners?
Well, I don't think they're rentals. Lennar is building them. If somebody buys one and rents it, that's stuff I would never know. But
Private ownership, individual ownership. Very good. Thank you, Ryan. Any other questions for Ryan or any other updates come before us? All right, well, this is my last meeting at this body, and I get to sign off here and turn officially over to Mayor-elect Roberts here in just a little bit. So thank you all for the opportunity to serve, and it's been great working with all of you. Much appreciated, and I know you've got great things on the horizon next year, so wish you all the best. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you all.